Step into the Gilded Age, a time of wonder and progress, best captured by the magnificent 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Millions flocked to see the future, a dazzling spectacle of innovation. But just a few blocks away in the shadow of this bright city, a different kind of marvel was being built. A structure that would become infamous, not for its beauty, but for the horrors it contained. This was the work of one man, a charming, intelligent doctor who went by the name H. Holmes. And this is the story of his castle of nightmares. These are 10 horrifying facts about H. Holmes. First, his name wasn't even Holmes. He was born Herman Webster Mudgett, a man who would adopt dozens of aliases to weave a complex web of deceit, charm, and ultimately, destruction. His path to becoming America's first notorious serial killer began long before he arrived in Chicago. Second, while studying medicine, Holmes reportedly stole cadavers from the university lab. He would disfigure them, then plant them to look like victims of accidents, cashing in on fraudulent insurance policies. It was a chilling dress rehearsal for the much darker acts that were to come. Third, upon arriving in Chicago, Holmes began construction on a massive 3-story building. To the public, it was a hotel, perfectly positioned to attract visitors to the World's Fair, but its true purpose was far more sinister. It was a custom-built labyrinth of death, which the press would later dub the Murder Castle. Imagine a building designed not for comfort, but for confinement and concealment. It was filled with bizarre and terrifying features, secret passageways that allowed Holmes to move unseen, staircases that led to nowhere, and doors that could only be opened from the outside. Fourth, many of the guest rooms were completely soundproofed, ensuring that no scream would ever be heard. Some were even equipped with gas lines, which Holmes could control directly from his office. He could lock an unsuspecting guest inside and, with the turn of a valve, silently fill the room with gas. The nightmare didn't end there. Trapdoors were hidden in closets and floors, leading to a network of chutes that snaked their way down through the building. Fifth, victims, dead or alive, could be dropped directly into the building's terrifying basement. And the basement, it was a factory of disposal. Here, investigators would later find a scene straight out of a horror novel. There were vats of acid, pits of quicklime, and even a large cremation kiln, all designed for one purpose: to make a human body disappear without a trace. Holmes's surgical knowledge was put to its most grotesque use here, as he dissected bodies to sell skeletons to medical schools or simply to destroy the evidence of his crimes. Sixth, so who were his victims? Many were young women drawn to the big city by the promise of the fair. Holmes, with his sophisticated and handsome demeanor, easily lured them in. Seventh, he would hire them as employees in one of his many businesses, or even propose marriage, showering them with affection. But once he had what he wanted, usually their money or life savings, they would vanish, swallowed by the walls of his hotel. He preyed on their trust, turning their hopes and dreams into his next opportunity. Beyond these spontaneous acts of cruelty, Holmes was also a master of the long con. He orchestrated incredibly elaborate insurance scams, often involving his business associates. He would convince a partner to take out a large life insurance policy, then help them fake their own death to split the payout. The twist? Holmes would then kill the associate for real, keeping the entire sum for himself. His greed was as insatiable as his cruelty. 8. For years, Holmes operated with impunity. But his tangled web of fraud eventually caught up with him. In 1894, he was finally arrested, not for the dozens of murders he had committed, but for a simple case of insurance fraud involving a stolen horse in Texas. It was the loose thread that would unravel everything. 9th, as detectives began to investigate Holmes's life, they were led back to Chicago and to the strange hotel he had left behind. When they finally entered the murder castle, they uncovered the true scale of his atrocities. Under interrogation, Holmes was a chameleon. He would confess, then recant, then confess to even more heinous crimes. He eventually admitted to 27 murders, but the real number is believed to be far, far higher. Given the number of people who went missing around the fair and the efficiency of his basement disposal system, some historians estimate he may have killed over 200 people. We will likely never know the true count. 10th, in 1896, H. Hayes. He remained chillingly calm, showing little to no remorse for the lives he had destroyed. His final words were quiet and composed, as if the monster inside him refused to make a final appearance. The man who had built a monument to murder went to his death without ever truly explaining the darkness that drove him. The 1893 Chicago World's Fair represented a dream of a brighter future. But the story of H. Holmes serves as a dark and disturbing counterpoint. It shows how, even in an age of light and progress, evil can flourish in the shadows, hidden behind a charming smile and a well-tailored suit. He was a new kind of monster, a predator who used the anonymity of a modern city to his advantage, and he will forever be remembered as America's first serial killer. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as it is terrifying, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of history. See you next time.